Last time we began discussing the Harchokos, we began with Schoik and Kales Roish, which is the jokes, the lightheaded moments which can lead to the wrong places. And like we said, each couple has to know themselves which jokes and lightheaded moments cannot be shared, which can very easily lead to certain wrong places. We have to be careful with that. However, we said that compliments and presents not only can be given, but should be given during this time to show the other person that you still appreciate everything that they're doing, even though there is a certain distance that this period of time is creating. So we'll move on now to the Isser of Negiah. There is an Isser to touch each other, and that includes even touching in the smallest way, even with your pinky finger, even if the person is wearing very thick a coat or a big dress, anything, it's going to be usher to touch each other in any way or shape or form. The Chacham not only says Negiah is usher, but also even passing each other something is usher, because that can very easily lead to touching. So even passing each other something would be usher. That includes even if something is very long, and there's no chance while you're passing it that the person is going to touch you. Still, the Chacham made a loy plug. They didn't differentiate between what you're passing. The bottom line is that all passing is going to be usher. The Chachamim also said that not only passing to each other is usher, but also even throwing to each other is also usher. Same reason, because it may lead to touching. Now, even if you're very far away from each other and you're going to pass it, and there's no chance you're going to touch each other at that time, still, the Chacham, again, made a loy plug. They didn't differentiate between how far away you are. All passing is going to be usher. So touching, passing to each other, and throwing to each other is going to be usher. However, one very nice heter is that you're allowed to throw something up. So if you want to pass each other the keys, and there's no way to do it, you can just throw it up, and the other person will put their hand underneath and catch it. That would not be considered passing to each other. Included in the Isser is taking something out of your wife's purse. So if she's holding the purse, she wants to pass you the keys that way, just put your hand in the purse and take it. That's Usser. However, you are allowed to drop the keys into her purse. That's not considered throwing to each other, and that would be mutter. Now this also gets into the shiloh of the kibbut of kvater. Sometimes a couple wants the kibbut of kvater. There's a lot of very nice segulas and schusim that can come with getting that kibbut. And if they are during the stage of nida, that would be usher. And the two ways that you could really get around it is that you can have a third person in between you, that you'll pass to one person who's not your husband, and then that person will pass to the husband. Or you can put the baby down on a chair or a table, and then the husband will pick up the baby that way. You'll still get the same schusim and segulas that way, and that way you will not be over any yisurim of the Harchokos. Also, when it comes to passing children to each other, passing children to each other is usher. So if you have a very young baby, doesn't really know to go to the father or to the mother, is just a baby, that would be usher to pass the baby back and forth from each other. However, if the baby is already at a certain age where the baby can know that he wants to go to the mother or he wants to go to the father, and he's the one or she's the one reaching out to the other person, that would be mutter, because really that's just the baby making its own decision, coming to the father and the mother. However, if the baby does not want to leave the mother or the father, then you cannot forcibly transfer or pass the baby to the other person. That would be usher. Also, when you're walking into a door together and there is a spring and the door is going to close, you are allowed to hold the door open and let your wife or your husband catch onto the door with their hand and keep the door open that way. You don't have to let the door slam on the other person. Carrying something together. So Ramesha has a tshuva about carrying something together. He can't identify specifically what would be the problem, but he still says that it's proper to be machmer, not to carry something together. However, if it's a b'shas hadchak, if let's say you come late at night back home and there's nobody around and you need help bringing the carriage inside, you don't have to go and knock on your neighbor's door and wake them up. You could bring it in together, since it's a shas hadchak, you could do that. You are allowed also to put eye drops into a baby, or let's say give some other medicine. So if you need two people to do it, and one person has to hold the baby and the other person will put the eye drops in, that would be mutter. There's no problem to do it that way. It is also usher to touch each other's clothing while the other person is wearing the clothing. So not only touching the person, but also just to touch the beged of the other person, that would also be usher. Something we have to be careful about is when we're traveling together, sometimes on an airplane, especially nowadays when they make the seats so close together, it is practically impossible to sit next to each other in an airplane without touching. And therefore, if you're traveling together when you're in this period of time, when your wife's in nida, you have to make sure that there's either a seat between you two, which you put a child or maybe you put a bag or something, or you can just get two aisle seats, and that way you'll make sure that you won't be touching and you'll still be able to travel together.